Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. If you've ever wondered if your purchase of XRP was a good idea or a bad idea, well, I've got some evidence that it was a freaking great idea, actually. I've got two stories to share with you in this very latest Moon Lambo hot jam, starting with this one from the Crypto Basic titled, Canary Capital CEO insists XRP ETFs will do $5 billion in inflows in first month, outperform Ethereum ETFs. Now, folks, I just gotta tell you, if that's correct, you're talking about blowing out Bitcoin's performance upon launch when it had its spot ETFs. And then there is also this story, and these types of stories, I love to see this. They just seem endless these days, don't they? Look at this. Japanese gaming giant Gumi, or maybe it's Gumi, I'm not sure, I haven't heard it pronounced, plans to invest 2.5 billion yen in XRP. That's millions and millions and millions of dollars invested into XRP. We're talking about as a treasury reserve asset. Yet another company, just jump on in the pile of companies that have been doing this. There are at least 7 publicly traded companies in the United States that have announced that they already have or will be launching their own XRP treasury reserve. It's the type of stuff that we've been in the XRP community dreamed of. We dreamed of it for like the past decade and believed that it was always possible. It is happening now. It could not be more obvious that XRP is an early winner in the crypto space. Period. It's already done. We're not wondering if it's going to make it. It already happened. It's been around for a long time, folks. It has existed since 2012, 13 years ago. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, just to remind you, a little table setting here, this Canary Capital CEO that is incredibly bullish on XRP, and he's talking about $5 billion flowing in just 1 month, which is, I gotta tell you, that'd be buck wild. And since those spot ETFs are backed by actual XRP, the multiplier that you get on that will be wild in terms of market cap. If he's right, that's a meaningful jump actually in market cap right out the gate, actually. He's not the only one that thinks this though, and there's evidence that there really truly is tremendous demand for XRP investment vehicles, new products such as the spot XRP ETFs. Case in point, do you remember this headline? I covered it at the time. Tucurium's XXRP ETF stuns Wall Street with fastest growth in firm's history. And so this is it's an XRP ETF, but not a spot XRP ETF. It's a leveraged one, which is a little bit different, but still it's a product that people want, and it's meant to be like daily traded. There's a crowd for that, so that's perfectly fine. It's not my jam. I think that trading is silly. You don't need to do it to get rich in crypto. To each their own, though. And by the way, this is not a typo, XXRP. That's the ticker symbol for their particular ETF product here. But the CEO of here, he's been speaking on national television on multiple occasions here. And he cited, and this is truly staggering numbers here, considering this, because XRP was supposed to be a dead coin. Don't forget that, too. XXRP has reached $300 million in net flows within 16 weeks of launch. That is crazy. Several months, roughly, $300 million from this one firm. And check this out. Tucurium Trading CEO says the leveraged ETF product is its most successful ETF ever in history. And this company's been around, by the way, as cited somewhere in this article. They've been around 16 years. It's probably on the screen right here. I can't find it just glancing here, but he publicly stated, yeah, it's been absolutely ridiculous and just beyond their wildest expectations. And that's the power of XRP. There's demand for it, and as it turns out, when you have a level playing field here, XRP actually thrives. So when you have, from a regulatory perspective, a legal perspective, that level playing field, yeah, XRP actually wins. I'm happy to see XRP compete on the level playing field. It dominates. It does what Bitcoin can't. You know, I mean, it works as a peer-to-peer cash system. The original intended purpose for Bitcoin, as it proposed by Satoshi Nakamoto in Bitcoin's white paper, peer-to-peer cash system. Bitcoin can't do that. It doesn't do that. It's a store of value. That's it. But XRP does. And then some. It does a bunch of other stuff too. And that's why the Tukurium CEO, by the way, and this is from April 23rd this year. Look at this headline. Tukurium CEO says, "We chose XRP because it's the coin with the most utility and true use cases." Bam, folks. So if you think XRP makes sense, to be clear, you're not the only ones. Some of the most wealthy and successful businessmen and women on the entire planet agree with you. As do the masses, or else XRP wouldn't be number 3 in market cap right now, quite frankly. And then there was also this. Wealth manager says people might be underestimating demand for spot XRP ETFs. You think? This guy's right. They're referencing, and I highlighted this the other day. It's Nate Garachi. He's the president of Nova Diaz Wealth. And I don't need to read the whole thing here. I guess I can. It's real short here. It says CME Group says XRP futures contracts have crossed over $1 billion in open interest. Okay, that's also wild. Fastest ever contract to do so. Took just over 3 months. That's right, folks. Fastest ever contract to do so. It says there's already $800 plus million in futures-based XRP ETFs. And then he wraps it up by saying, think people might be underestimating demand for spot XRP ETFs. So when you have everything in context, there's a reason I wanted to highlight these stories first, even if just briefly. It's because when you read through this isn't some sort of fly-by-night individual. This guy is seeking to launch a spot XRP ETF, so fine. Biased interest. I mean, I'm biased too. That's true. I'm an XRP holder. But when you look at what's actually happening in the real world, there's actually good reason to think, yeah, we could see some ridiculous response to, by the investing world at large, just when we do have spot XRP ETFs available. And they're coming, folks. And they could, by the way, they could come during the euphoria of this market cycle as it ends up wrapping up ultimately, whenever that comes. I think it's going to be sooner than later, personally. That's my guess. So anyway, Canary Capital CEO insists XRP ETFs will do $5 billion inflow in first month, outperform Ethereum ETFs. Canary Capital CEO remains confident that the XRP ETFs will be an instant success, proposing possible outperformance of the Ethereum ETF. Steve McClurg has some bold predictions for the US XRP spot ETF. In a Friday interview, he reaffirmed his projection that the funds tracking the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap would attract $5 billion in inflows in their first month of launch. Now, stick with me, because there's a reason that $5 billion is, if hit, astonishing. And it will make toxic Bitcoin maximalists cry. So I'm not going to make a prediction as to whether or not that will happen. That's his prediction. I know there's wild interest in XRP right now, and we're getting towards the later stages of this market. So especially if it's during euphoria, it's plausible. I will say that it's definitely plausible. So anyway, piece continues. The Bitcoin spot ETFs recorded a net inflow of $1.46 billion in January 2024, according to data from Sosa Value. While some may argue that is not a full month's inflow, as the ETFs started trading on January 11th, 2024, the ETFs had a cumulative net inflow of $3.26 billion as of February 12th, 2024, a month later. And so there you go. If you want one full month to count, Bitcoin pulled in $3.26 billion of inflows. This guy's predicting $5 billion in inflows for XRP. Devastating Bitcoin as a result, if he ends up being correct. We'll see. And this thing is coming. Check this out. Meanwhile, the comments come as the chances of an XRP ETF in 2025 continue to rise. Barron shared that the chances of their launch this year stood at 86%, currently at 87%, suggesting increased confidence among market users. McClurg agrees with this optimistic outlook, suggesting that XRP, along with other assets like HBAR, Litecoin, and Solana, will launch before the end of 2025. And I just got to pause and note that I feel very comfortable predicting that. It's so obvious that the war on crypto is over, as stated by President Trump, and this is the first pro-crypto administration in the history of this country, and the U.S. capital markets, of course, being the largest on the entire planet. Yeah, it's very meaningful that that is indeed the case, and this is going to go through, and it's going to go through this year. I feel very comfortable predicting that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think it's safe to have high conviction on that. Anyway, piece continues. He also added that the existence of the XRP futures products further enhances their likelihood of entering the market before year end. Meanwhile, the Canary Capital CEO went further to predict that the XRP ETFs would outperform the Ethereum spot ETFs, citing several reasons. First, he noted that aside from Bitcoin, XRP is the most popular token on Wall Street, a factor that would drive its instant ETF success. And I don't feel the need to read the rest of the article. I think you guys got the cut of the jib here. Just the degree to which XRP is successful and continually being adopted and increased in utility, it's truly astonishing. And if you're paying attention, I know you guys get it, but the cool thing is most of the world doesn't yet. They'll eventually get it. They'll get there. They'll catch up. They'll be the late adopters. But the fact that most of the world doesn't know this yet is why we have this opportunity. They're going to find out, though. And then you can say, yeah, well, I was here first, because you are. Even if you just jumped into crypto, like, understand way less than 1% of humans have ever bought XRP in history. That is true. Way less than 1%. So if you're here now holding XRP in 2025, even as it's close to $3, you're freaking early. Congratulations. Very genuinely, congratulations to you. And then you got all these treasury, these companies opening their own XRP treasuries. This is wild. So look at this headline. Japanese gaming giant Gumi, or Gumi, I don't know, again, I haven't heard it pronounced, plans to invest 2.5 billion yen in XRP. And there have been so many of these. Tons of these. And you know, we used to get mocked when we talk about this stuff on social media, the toxic Bitcoin maximalists. They just mock us. No, what company would want to hold XRP in a treasury? What are you talking about? That scam centralized coin? Yeah, except for it's not a scam and it's decentralized, you idiot. Bunch of midwits saying stupid things on the internet, typing with their fat little fingers, saying stuff with their stupid little face holes. Anyway, piece reads as follows. Japan-based gaming giant Gumi Inc. has announced plans to acquire 2.5 billion yen, which is roughly $17 million worth of XRP, as part of efforts to expand its blockchain business. And by the way, that is another part of the story. They didn't go into great depth from anything I've seen anyway, but they did announce that they're going to do something having to do with payment flows utilizing XRP. So it's not just, so that's utility, not just as a reserve asset. But I didn't see anything beyond the blurb about it. So I don't know what the plans are. If anybody knows, I don't pretend to know at all. If anybody has found anything about that, drop that information in the comment section below. I'd be curious to see. But they said, yes, they're doing something with it. Anyway, the company announced the development in a press release today. Following its decision in a recent board meeting, it intends to splash 2.5 billion yen, or approximately $16.91 million, in purchasing the third largest crypto by market cap. Notably, the gaming firm will strategically accumulate XRP over a 5-month period spanning from September 2025 to February 2026. Commenting on the development, Gumi highlighted that the planned purchase is a strategic move aimed at enabling its participation in XRP's ecosystem. So again, that's the part where I'm like, okay, they're going to do something with it, some sort of utility, not just as a reserve asset. Not exactly clear what that's going to be. But why do you think all these companies are putting very real money, like almost $17 million into XRP? It's not like they're making stupid decisions. They think this thing's going to be worth way more in the future. It's not just you that thinks XRP makes sense. That's what I'm saying. I've always believed this since jumping into crypto. I know you guys believe it too. Well, it's not just us, though. It's some of the smartest and wealthiest individuals on the planet that agree. And there's so much evidence. There is intense demand for XRP. When you open up more avenues for people to get exposure to it, yeah, people are going to take advantage of that. Number go up, my friends. Number go up. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.